right, everyone, welcome back.
Good.
We are diving deep into something pretty huge today.
Yeah, this is a big one.
It's GitHub Spark,
That's right.
and this could change everything for developers and YouTubers.
Oh, absolutely. Big promises.
It is ambitious.
Yeah,
For our listeners who might not be, coding wizards,
right.
think of GitHub as like the ultimate developer hangout.
Yeah.
It's where they store their projects, collaborate.
Mm-hmm.
It's where the digital world happens.
Yeah,
But Spark is taking things to a whole new level.
definitely.
Imagine just describing the app that you want.
All right.
And boom, it just appears. It's built right in front of you.
Like magic, kinda.
It's like
It uses natural language processing, so you're like talking to the computer.
you're having a conversation with the computer, you're guiding it.
You give it instructions, you can see a live preview, you can tweak it as you go.
Wow, and all in plain English, too.
All in plain English. Exactly.
This isn't just smoke and mirrors, either.
Yeah, no.
Spark is writing real code.
Real working code.
Thanks to these things called large language models, or LLMs.
Right, LLMs.
They're the same AI brains behind ChatGPT.
Yeah.
But in this case, they're churning out code that runs on GitHub's infrastructure.
That's right. We're talking real apps here.
Real apps, not just some fancy prototype.
Exactly.
It's pretty wild, and it's powered by a pretty robust tech stack.
Yeah, we got GitHub repos,
They've got,
GitHub Actions for all that behind-the-scenes automation.
and even Microsoft Azure Cosmos DB for all the database stuff.
Yeah, all the database needs.
We've got some great sources we're going to unpack today,
We do.
including articles from TechCrunch,
Always a good source.
a tweet from the GitHub CEO himself, who, he seems pretty excited about this,
Well, understandably.
and a deep dive from the GitHub Next team. That's where all the experimental magic happens.
That's right. The bleeding edge stuff.
So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
What exactly is GitHub Spark?
Yeah, what is it?
And how does it actually work? Our episode title today asks, did GitHub Copilot kill the cursor?
Ooh, good question.
But first, what does this even mean for, developers and product managers?
Yeah, good point.
And for our amazing Tranquil Club creators out there?
Yes.
How could this change the YouTube game? Let's dive in.
Let's break down the tech behind Spark.
Okay.
At its heart are these LLMs. They've
Yeah.
been trained on these massive data sets of code.
So it's like sending a bot to, coding boot camp,
Yeah,
except it graduates, top of the class in a nanosecond.
pretty much.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible.
It is, and the result is that Spark can often generate code that's basically indistinguishable from what a human developer would write.
Wow.
But the key difference is the way that you interact with it.
Right. It's not just about spitting out lines of code.
No.
It's about understanding what you're trying to create,
Yes.
even if you don't know how to, express that in technical terms.
Just-
So imagine you're a YouTuber and you want to make a custom tool to, track your video ideas.
Okay. Yeah.
Maybe categorize them by topic or analyze which ones are getting the most engagement.
That would be useful.
Traditionally, you would need to know how to code or hire a developer to build that for you.
Yeah, for sure.
But with Spark, you could just describe this tool in plain English. You could literally say, I want an app that lets me input my video ideas, tag them with keywords, and then see a chart showing which tags are most popular.
And Spark will understand that?
And Spark would actually understand that and start building it.
Amazing.
Yeah, and what's really cool is it's not just a one-way street.
Right.
You can see a live preview of what Spark is building.
You can.
You give feedback, and you can ask it to make changes all in real time.
In real time, yeah.
So it really is like having a conversation with a developer
Yes.
who can instantly translate your thoughts into working code.
It's wild.
Okay, but let's address the elephant in the room.
Oh, here we go.
Or rather, the missing cursor on the screen.
Okay.
Does Spark mean the end of coding as we know it?
That's a big question.
Did GitHub Copilot, which suggests code, did it just get completely overshadowed?
Right.
Is typing code going the way of the dodo?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
On the surface, it might seem like Spark is, making coding obsolete.
Yeah, because if you can build an app just by talking to your computer, why bother learning all that complex syntax and commands and all that?
Right. Exactly.
Especially for YouTubers who are already juggling so many things.
Yeah.
They're creating content, they're engaging with their audience, they're managing their channels, they're trying to stay ahead of the algorithm.
Trying to keep up. Yeah.
Learning to code on top of all that can feel like, climbing Mount Everest with a unicycle.
That's a good analogy.
I think it's important to remember that Spark is still a tool.
Right, it
a
is.
very powerful tool.
Yes.
But it's not a magic wand. There's still a lot of thought and planning that goes into building a successful app, whether you're using Spark or writing code from scratch,
Absolutely.
right? You need to think about user experience, data structure, the overall design, and how easy it is to maintain in the long run.
Yeah.
Spark can help you with the execution,
It can.
but it can't do all the thinking for you.
That's right. And this is where I think that the distinction between coding and software development really comes in.
Okay.
Spark might automate the coding part, but it doesn't replace the need for like software development skills and knowledge.
I see. So is Spark a coding killer?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe for, certain types of simple apps?
Yeah, maybe.
It could make traditional coding obsolete.
Yeah, potentially.
But for more complex applications,
Yeah.
I think it's more likely to be a coding enhancer,
Right.
like a tool that helps developers work faster and more efficiently.
And with less frustration.
Less frustration, less hair pulling. Yeah.
Does-
Think of it this way. Imagine a carpenter who suddenly has access to a robotic arm that can cut, shape, and assemble wood with incredible precision.
Oh, okay.
Does that mean the carpenter's out of a job?
No, not at all.
Well, of course not. It just means they can focus on, the more creative and intricate aspects of their craft.
Exactly.
So Spark is like that robotic arm for developers.
I like that analogy.
It takes care of the repetitive, time-consuming tasks,
Right.
freeing them up to focus on the big picture, the problem solving, the user experience.
Precisely.
And this is where I think Spark has the potential to be a real game changer.
I agree.
Not just for developers,
Yeah.
but for anyone who has ideas for apps but might be intimidated by that technical barrier to entry.
Absolutely opens up a lot of doors.
Speaking of breaking down barriers, let's dig into some of the specific features and use cases of Spark that are highlighted in our sources.
Okay, let's get into the detail.
What are some of the things that really jumped out at you?
Well, one of the features that really caught my eye was the emphasis on these micro apps.
Micro app.
Yeah, and these aren't meant to be these huge, complex software, behemoths.
Right.
They're more like these little focused tools designed to solve very specific problems.
Okay, so think less like building the next social media platform and more like creating a handy tool to manage your YouTube comments or automating some task that's been, eating up all your time.
Exactly.
Gotcha. And for YouTubers, this is like a gold mine.
It could be.
Imagine being able to just whip up a micro app that analyzes your video analytics, gives you insights into watch time, audience demographics, maybe even suggest the best times to upload new content.
That's powerful.
Well, no more digging through endless spreadsheets and reports. I'm already feeling more productive just thinking about it.
Me too.
I remember Spark isn't just for solo creators.
Right.
One of the articles mentions this concept of semantic merging, which basically means you can collaborate with others on Spark projects.
Interesting.
And it's like Google Docs for code, but on steroids.
Wow. Okay.
Imagine working on a micro app with other creators in your niche, like you're sharing ideas, refining the functionality, and ultimately building something that benefits everyone involved.
That's the beauty of open source.
That's right. Collective brainpower coming together to create something truly amazing.
I love it.
Speaking of amazing, the GitHub Next post hints at some even wilder features that are in the pipeline.
Oh, yeah. They're just getting started.
Oh, yeah. They're just getting warmed up.
What else is coming?
They talk about a public gallery where you can showcase your Spark creations.
Okay, like an app store for micro apps.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
And get this, they even mentioned the possibility of building multiplayer apps.
Whoa, multiplayer micro apps. What does that even look like?
I'm picturing a world where YouTubers can collaborate on videos in real time using a Spark app that manages edits, transitions, even adds special effects.
That would be incredible.
Or imagine a live stream where viewers can interact with the content using a custom Spark app.
Wow.
Voting on polls, triggering animations, maybe even playing mini-games.
The possibilities are mind-boggling.
Okay, brain officially melted.
Yeah, me too.
But let's back up a bit and get practical for a moment.
Okay, yeah.
For developers and product managers who are listening,
Right.
how does Spark fit into their existing workflow?
Good question.
Is this something they should be embracing, ignoring, or running away from screaming?
Yeah, what's the verdict?
Well, I think it really depends on the individual and the type of work they do.
Okay.
But in general, I see Spark as a potential productivity booster
A productivity booster. Okay.
for both developers and product managers.
Interesting. So let's break it down.
Okay.
For developers, it seems like Spark could be a huge time saver when it comes to like building prototypes, testing out ideas.
Or even just automating those repetitive coding tasks that, nobody really enjoys doing.
Nobody likes doing those.
Right. Instead of spending hours writing boilerplate code or like debugging those pesky syntax errors, developers can use Spark to generate a basic structure and then focus on the more challenging and creative aspects of the project.
It's like having a superpower coding assistant.
Right. Who can handle all the grunt work,
Yes.
leaving you free to focus on the big picture stuff.
Exactly.
And for product managers, it seems like Spark could be a game changer in terms of like communication and collaboration with developers.
Oh, absolutely.
Imagine a product manager who can just quickly prototype an idea in Spark, showing the developer exactly what they envision.
That's a game changer.
Even if they don't have the technical language to like describe it in detail.
It'd be so helpful.
Right? That's a recipe for fewer misunderstandings, faster iterations, and ultimately a better product.
I agree.
No more trying to explain a complex user flow using like hand-drawn diagrams and sticky notes.
Right, exactly.
And let's not forget about the potential impact on testing and validation.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
Product managers could use Spark to create like basic versions of new features or product ideas.
Okay.
And get early feedback from users before, investing a ton of time and resources into full-blown development.
That's agile development at its best.
Talk about agile development, right?
Yeah.
But of course, no new technology comes without its potential downsides.
True.
What are some of the things that developers and product managers should be like cautious about when using Spark?
Well, one concern is that Spark could lead to a decrease in the overall quality of code.
Oh, interesting.
If people are relying too heavily on AI to generate code without understanding the underlying principles and best practices,
Yeah.
it could result in buggy, inefficient, or even insecure applications.
Right. It's like using a calculator without understanding basic math.
Exactly.
You might get the right answer sometimes, but you're also more likely to make mistakes and not even realize it.
That's a good point.
So it's really crucial for developers to treat Spark as a tool to, augment their skills,
Right.
not replace them entirely.
Yeah, it's not a replacement.
They'll need to understand the code that Spark generates.
Mhm.
They need to be able to debug it, and they need to make sure it meets the necessary quality and security standards.
For sure.
And for product managers, I think the biggest challenge is going to be resisting the temptation to, go rogue
Okay.
and try to build everything themselves in Spark without involving developers.
Yeah, that's tempting, but probably not a good idea.
Right. While Spark makes it easier for non-coders to create, basic apps,
Yeah.
it's still important to have developers involved in the process,
Mm.
especially when it comes to more complex functionality, data management, and security considerations.
Absolutely. Those are critical areas.
So it's all about finding the right balance, right?
Yeah.
Using Spark to empower product managers and streamline communication with developers,
Mm-hmm.
but not letting it become a substitute for true technical expertise.
Exactly. It's a tool, not a replacement.
And I think as Spark evolves and matures, we'll start to see like best practices emerge
Yeah, I agree.
for how to effectively integrate it into different workflows and team structures.
Definitely.
But in the meantime, I think it's safe to say that Spark is a force to be reckoned with.
It's a game changer, that's for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely shaking things up.
Oh, for sure.
And one area where I think Spark has the potential to be like truly revolutionary is in empowering creators,
Absolutely.
especially those who might not have a traditional coding background.
Right, exactly.
It's like handing someone a toolbox filled with like digital building blocks.
Yeah, I like that.
But instead of hammers and nails, it's code snippets and like
Yeah.
AI-powered logic.
It's a whole new way to build.
And for YouTubers, I mean, that's a game changer.
Yeah.
Imagine being able to create custom tools to manage your channel, analyze your audience, even build interactive elements for your videos,
Right.
all without having to learn complex coding languages.
Just really breaking down barriers.
Think about it. A micro app that like automatically generates subtitles for your videos in multiple languages.
Oh, that would be amazing.
A tool that analyzes your comments and highlights the most common questions or suggestions.
So helpful.
Or even like a fun little game that viewers can play while watching your live stream.
Yeah, that would be cool.
I'm already picturing all the amazing things Tranquil Club creators could build with Spark.
Yeah, the possibilities are endless.
It's like taking the creativity and ingenuity they already possess
They have so much of that.
and giving them a like turbocharged boost.
Exactly.
And the beauty